Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, I want to talk a bit about your true self. I want to talk a bit about how you can actually use that. And instead of trying to be totally different, instead of applying skills that are not really supported by your true self, learn to use your special skills that you already have and grow them. See, I believe learning what you already have and giving them a potential to grow, that's actually where you are mostly succeeding in. That's where you mostly grow. And so I learned that on a very hard way, I would say. Maybe there are other people who can relate to this when we are trying to be someone that we are not. And so I would love to go a bit into this today. My name is Patricia, and if you are new to my channel, then hit that subscribe button. Also make sure to ring that bell so you actually get notified as soon as I publish any new content. As I just mentioned in the intro, I tried myself to be someone I'm not for quite some time. Now, what do I actually mean by that? It's about your fundament, okay? It's about who are you in your heart, okay? And I had so many times people who had desires and wanted to be coached by me, and those desires weren't really real for them. Rather, it would be a desire to, look good from the outside or make them feel they are accepted from the outside. But always, as soon as they reached some kind of goals, they would feel kind of off. It didn't really feel right. They felt kind of like, I had so much success in my life, but I'm still where I am. I'm still, something just feels off. Maybe you have experienced something really similar, and I did too. I have to be very honest with you. I had the same kind of experience where I tried out a few things because I felt myself not good enough the way I am, and because I thought that, I kind of added some skills to, I don't know if that is the right description, but let's put it that way, to add some value to my person, okay, to the Patricia. And this though never gave me this, now I can relax, now I'm good. It just never came. It never came along that I felt the way I thought I would. And so I was always kind of thinking, okay, well, what is really, really missing? Now, here's the piece I found. I always tried to add something that wasn't really aligning with my true nature, because I tried to skip that part. Okay, I grew up in a way where that, how I truly was, or at least I felt that, wasn't really accepted, okay? And at one moment I skipped that part too, because I felt if I skip that and if I add some other characteristics, which is like being really outgoing, being fun, all those kind of things you can add into your life, and that's learned, but it's not my true nature. It's not my true nature to be actually outgoing. Yes, I got really good at it, and I do have commit. I also enjoy it now. But when I was really young, when I practiced that, that wasn't really my nature, huh? It wasn't really that I did it because I really wanted to learn it. It was because I tried to fit in, but I did it on another purpose, okay? I didn't do it because I desired to be that way. I wanted to simply fit in. I tried my best to please other people, and that's why I learned this skill. Truth is now, this really helps me. Fact. But it's not who I truly am. I'm rather an introvert than an extrovert. And I love deep talks. I love deep coachings. I'm not kind of that person who likes small talks, for example. And I had to learn the hard way that I'm fine like this. I don't need to enjoy those small talks. Those like, hey, how is the weather? I don't care really that much. And so I always felt, yeah, but you have to be a certain way and you have to do this and that. And it just felt off. So I would add all of those diplomas and, all those kind of achievements. I felt that's what I need. When I get this and I get this amount of cash, I'm good, right? That's what I thought. I realized that the whole time I was actually putting myself away, meaning my true self couldn't really grow because I was kind of ignoring that part. It wasn't really worthy to look at in my eyes. And I pushed it away because, yeah, that's just what I did, right? And at one moment I realized until I don't look at those parts, I will never really be or feel whole. I will never really feel a certain way. I will never really love myself because I somehow cut off parts of me I don't want to look at. And because I cut those parts off, because I believe that that's not who I am or who I want to be, that's when I hurt myself. That's where I punished myself even. I would really describe it as that way because I didn't accept it myself. So nowadays when I have clients who call me and they say, well, I want to be this or that or, all those kind of things, I highly recommend to check in, why do you want that? Why do you want to be a certain way? Why isn't it okay that you are maybe a bit more quiet? That you, for example, take mine, have deep chats with just one person? Why is it that you need to talk to 10 people in one row? Why is that required? What does it make you feel when you can do that? Is that really who you are in person? Don't get me wrong. You can learn those things. But is it aligned in who you are? See, there's two different things, which is one, who are you in nature? And what skills do you want to add to that nature? And there are just certain things that we learn, but they are not really helpful for us. Okay? So instead of trying to be something you're not, have you ever tried to look at those parts you don't really like about yourself and fully accepted them? And meanwhile, not only accepted them, but use them for your benefits. See, in my example, having those deep talks, I use them now in coachings. And for me, it's really joyful. It's really, it gives me this deep peace I was always looking for, because now I can actually use my own nature to help someone else, and that fulfills me with joy, it fulfills me with love, it fulfills me with all those pieces I felt were missing. And those pieces I could have never put together if I wouldn't have looked at those pieces of myself I don't want to see. Which is why we are coming back to, what is it that is really you? Which parts do you try to ignore? What is it that you really want to hide, maybe even? Because I tried to really hide some of my own characteristics. I try to put them away and just stay where you are. I try to ignore, and it created this suffering part as well. It created this anger, frustration, which is, by the way, nothing really bad. Okay, there is no such thing as good or bad, but what is there is how you label it. Okay, I use anger when I feel I'm angry. I use it as interesting. Why is this triggering me? Why do I feel hurt? There is a usual sense that when we get angry or frustration, that underneath of all these layers is pain. I believe that when you're watching this video, you can relate to that feeling as well. And see, there is no such thing as good or bad. It really is how you label it. So if you're saying those parts of you, they're bad, what you're really telling here is that you're not good enough the way you are. And that itself creates this immense frustration, anger even, bitterness maybe. It creates this deep feeling of not acceptance. And so you're putting yourself, a heaviness is attached to that. Now, what can you actually really do to look at these parts of yourself? Maybe you're not even really aware. You are just kind of curious, and that's totally fine too. So I would suggest you are doing this. First, you look at those things you're really, really good at. Then you're looking at those things you're really bad at. Then you're looking at those things that you're trying to hide. Simply. From most of the people or from everyone. Because you're kind of ashamed, you're scared. You don't really know how people will react to that. And then you look at those things and you are kind of seeing it from a different angle and questioning, why do I feel that this isn't worth being seen? Not even by myself. What pain is attached to keep this away from me? Why do I do that to myself? What is it that makes me want to hide those parts? The best is if you have a letter, you write those words down. Personally, I like to speak them out too, because then I hear those words from my own mouth and I can then somehow let the tension go, okay? Let this energy go and get back into the flow. And so when you're reading that out loud and you're saying, okay, it's really time to accept those parts of me that may right now not look as shiny as those other parts. Okay, maybe you are shy, or you're, as I said, maybe you are rather an introvert and you are, not that super loud person, and you always desire to be that person who is super loud. But if you're really coming back here is, do you know how powerful a deep conversation can be for someone else? Do you know how much meaning you can add into another person's life and to yourself while having those chats, those really deep talks? See, if we start to nurture that, if we start to practice, okay? Practice what you're really good at, because it's your nature. If you start to practice that, if you start with those deep talks, and if you start to be really that kind of person, then you have a fundament which you can build afterwards. And this is actually the space where you really feel happiness. See, happiness isn't coming from, let's put it as a tree, isn't really coming from all the things above. It's really coming from the root. It's coming from deep within. And the reason why you feel off is because when we don't accept all those parts, because we feel that we cannot acknowledge them, maybe we even got laughed at when we were young, and we try to hide it because it's somehow not what we want to show others. And we all have those parts, we all have them, so don't even be ashamed to have that. When we really go and look into that, then we can grow, then we can perform, then we can go above and beyond, because our base, our fundament is where it's good to plant some seeds. It's where we can grow. We are on the end of this video. I hope this helped you, and with this said, see you next week.